but what does Truecaller have to do with enterprises? What does Truecaller have to do with businesses? And today, Abhimanyu and I are here to throw some light on what we are doing to helping businesses, to helping gauge trusted users, and to ensure all of us sustain and thrive in a trusted and safe environment amidst a fast growing digital ecosystem. To talk about it, sorry.
Can someone check this again? The slide's not moving.
Yeah, as they say, right? Digital transformation is always evolving, and that's where we are. But as said, right, from our beginning of our journey, Truecaller has always focused on how we can ensure millions of users across the globe can have a safe and trusted communication. I think all of us do believe and understand that in the last 5 years, not just in India, but globally, all of us have transitioned into a mobile first ecosystem. And when we talk about a mobile first ecosystem, it's not only about the transition to smartphones from feature phones or landlines in a fast pace, but also a change in identity where all of us are communicating with our mobile numbers everywhere. If you look at it, if you do a simplest thing, right, you order something online, your identity is associated on that platform with your mobile number. So if you look at consumer services, be it food delivery, be it e-commerce orders, be it anything, you are being looked at from your mobile number identity. If you look at banking and financial services, again, your bank accounts, your insurance policies are strongly connected with your primary mobile number. If you look at government services, immensely digitized in the last 10 years, your Aadhaar number is and your PAN number and your bank account are strongly associated with your mobile number. What this means is, as all of us are connected deeply with the mobile number, our identity online is also known and perceived with our mobile numbers, and hence everyone who is interacting and engaging with you wants to talk to you, wants to communicate to you. So the most common modes of communication are messaging and calling associated with your mobile number. You're looking for a service online, you place an inquiry and someone will call you. If you miss that call, someone might message you or repeatedly call you. And that transformation or that transition has happened immensely fast, predominantly even after the lockdown days. Lockdown was a time when all of us were forced to stay at homes. And that forced a lot of traditional businesses to think, how do we cater to the users where they are? We already had digital natives and startups disrupting traditional businesses, but then traditional businesses also realized that they need to go online where their users are. So predominantly, if you look at through the lockdown period or post the lockdown period, the sensitivity in terms of communication has increased. Pretty much everyone has put their services online in some way or another. But interestingly, the fulfillment is still happening offline. You might go online and place an inquiry about an insurance policy you're interested in. But very rarely you'll go and complete the purchase because you want to talk to someone and understand the nitty-gritties of it, understand the if and else of it. So you want to talk to someone whom you can trust. And that trust starts and established when you have that communication. For that communication to begin, you're interacting with that person online via chat or your mobile phone, and which is where calls become supremely important. And hence, at Truecaller, where we are at the intersection of millions of and billions of calls happening on a daily basis, we've understood that businesses increasingly want to grab that mindshare of users. Because as a user, I want the best deal for myself. I'm gonna inquire in hundreds of platforms that, hey, where do you have the best insurance policy? And when everyone is trying to reach out to me to offer me something, to explain me something, I need to prioritize. And if you take few seconds and reflect how your day looks like, you get hundreds of calls through a week. And all of us are busy on our day-to-day lives. How do you ensure that a call or a message that's coming to you is actually trusted, is actually relevant, and is actually worth your time? Why would you want to answer a call and spend 20 seconds talking to someone if that is not a relevant person? And that has started happening increasingly, where users are getting lot number of calls and messages, and the safety aspect is going away as scam is also starting to become more and more sophisticated. At Truecaller, where over the years, right from the day we started, our onus has been to build a platform to build a bridge on how do we ensure verified business identity and profile for millions of users as well as businesses alike, to build a platform, to build a bridge on how do we ensure people are talking to the relevant folks and communities in their lives. And taking that mission seriously, because that is what we have done day in, day and night from the time we've started over 10 years now. We've built something called as verified business identity by Truecaller. In a simple way, or in a simple nutshell, what we're trying to do is create a relevance and help a diverse set of users like you and me build trust in the businesses that are interacting online and find important pieces to move ahead in their life. In a nutshell, at Truecaller, we are working with businesses to set up a verified business identity and profile for all their calls and messages, so that the next time you call your users know, hey, I was looking forward to this call and I should actually interact with this person and give it a shot to see if it helps me or not. We've added multiple layers to it, where we enable businesses to show a reason on the call, show a visual on the call, garner feedback from the customers, and do lot things. Because end of the day, in a developing economic market that we are and across globally, calls stay and will stay to be one of the most important mediums of communication, and we are not going to go away from it because there is still a lot of financial inclusion and education to happen. Having said that, I will let my colleague Abhimanyu to talk more about verified business identity and what different use cases are we powering for businesses and the success business have seen with us. Over to you.
All right, thank you, Harshad. Again, continuing on the same line, it's been very well said that products are made in a factory, but a brand image is created in someone's mind, right? And when you kind of try to create a brand image, there are two things that come into play. One is the customer experience overall, and the other is a lot of risk that is kind of involved in building that brand image. Uh, as kind of said, right, we've started working with businesses across various verticals, focusing on kind of making their communication efficient, safe, and trustworthy. And over the period of time, there are close to about 2,000 plus businesses who kind of use us today, who are kind of associated with the verified business platform. And that is spread across about 37 countries. Uh, we've got close to about 650,000 verified numbers, which is making safe and efficient calling. Now, what we're going to do is quickly run you through a kind of a use case which a lot of you can associate with, whether you are from that industry or it is more kind of aligned to your day-to-day usage as a consumer. Let me take a small example of what impact does Truecaller Verified Business Solution imply on the overall sector as BFSI, which includes banks, private sector, public sector banks, fintechs, insurance companies, through a small quick video which will give you a lot of insight on how do we impact our users and business on a daily basis.
Trust and identity are the mainstays of banking CX, across customer journey and use cases. From learning about products and services to getting timely updates on account transactions and security to giving feedback, Customers want verified and safe communication. And stay away from identity thefts. Here's how Nick communicates seamlessly with Centro Bank and evades potential fraud calls across the customer journey. He visits Centro Insurance websites and registers interest for a life insurance policy. He receives a call from an unidentified source. He ignores the call out of suspicion. Next day, he gets a call from Centro Insurance with verified business caller ID. He picks up the call this time, as he identifies the caller and sees the call reason. Impressed by the positive brand experience, he decides to open an account in Centro Bank. He gets a call for KYC verification with video caller ID. As he can see a trustworthy brand identity, he quickly gets on the call. Upon successfully creating his account, he gets alerts for account transaction and credit card bill payment through attention-grabbing Truecaller verified SMS. As the alert comes from an authentic source, he instantly acknowledges the SMS and do the needful. To further his association with the bank, he decides to open a Demat account. Centro Bank calls him, but he misses the call due to other commitments. Nick requests and schedules. Call back using Call Me Back and time slot picker. Someone from Centro Bank gets in touch to open his Demat account. He faces an untimely issue with his Demat account and fails to log in. He puts a note for the support team. The support team gives him the call and resolve his issue. The team asks for his post-call feedback to improve the processes. He rates the overall experience using our user feedback feature. Things go smoothly, but one fine day he gets a call from the bank regarding a suspicious transaction. He immediately recognizes the bank, thanks to the priority caller ID, and gets a timely update. This is how we are empowering prominent players to add trust, identity, and context across their banking CX. Together we have a chance to build a banking ecosystem driven by customer trust intent and insight. Are you in?
Right, so when we kind of talk about this, overall, what we're talking about is adding identity, trust to your communication, and we're going to now talk about a little, go deep into the overall process. Let's take a small example of a fintech company or an insurance company. Somebody's trying to buy a insurance policy or a financial product online, right? And the journey is from sales to feedback, right? Now, there is a time when there is an intent for a customer to buy a policy. It starts with creating the overall impact in terms of somebody showing interest, from kind of moving in to the next stage, which after the registration, which is all about, once a customer is converted into monitoring perspective, then you've got the renewal phase, and then overall feedback as to the sales process, as well as looking at a kind of a conversion ratio onto it, right? So let's take a quick option. I am interested in buying a policy. I go online, I submit a bit of amount of my details, I give in my phone number, etc. And I am expecting a call from the business to understand the overall value, right? And today I get a call from an unidentified source. I don't know who's calling us. There's a high probability that the call would not be answered, which would result into someone not kind of, buying the policy. Now, post, being associated with verified business, I get a different experience while the business is reaching out to kind of buy that policy. And that is where I kind of get an assured brand intent that, all right, I'm talking to the genuine business, my money is going to be safe, I'm going to get the right information about the product that is going to finally help me out achieve my financial goals. So there's the process of sales, which kind of we relate to the right identity while that call is being made, and giving that reassurance to the respective consumer that the right brand is calling me. Now, the next use case that where we come in for a fintech business or any financial services is around transaction monitoring. I've kind of bought the product. I am kind of using it day in, day out, but at some point of time, there is some kind of risk that is associated to it, and I want to kind of be informed so that my financial exposure is safe, right? So that's where the next use case comes in, which is all around monitoring. And that is where we kind of use something called as a rich media contextualization calling, in which we try to immediately get in a user's attention, because this call is very, very important. It may be related to your account being breached. It may be related to some transaction that is a large transaction that has happened maybe in a bank account. So that is where we try to create a distinct calling experience. So we started off with the right identity at the time of buying a policy or a financial product. Now somebody has bought in the product, and we are trying to deliver a distinct experience when that call lands onto the device of the end user through something called as rich caller ID, right? The third part is on the renewals perspective, right? Any business is the whole cycle. It starts with somebody buying it, but retention is something which is very, very important that a lot of businesses today focus on. And that's where I'll just try to correlate what we kind of do from the renewals perspective. Again, you are making a call trying to kind of get your customer back, and that is where you've kind of used this first part of it, which is around identity contextualization of the call. But today everyone's busy, and close to about 70 to 80% of calls for a lot of businesses are missed or not answered due to lack of availability of time, right? And that is where we kind of came back with something called as Call Me Back, another great value add for a lot of businesses to understand that, all right, there is some way of further lead qualification or our customer qualification through this feature. So users today kind of respond back to businesses that, all right, I'm not available right now, but here is, please reach out to me tomorrow or maybe in the further scheduled time. And there have been NBFCs, large NBFCs, who've kind of seen thousands of call me back requests coming into them, and they kind of put that into a qualified lead bucket for them, right? And that's where we've been able to add a lot of value. Again, started off with identity, context, to rich media, and then kind of coming into a two-way qualification phase through Call Me Back. Now, the last part, feedback. All of us as business stakeholders are very, very critical about feedback. We want to kind of know how do we improve our customer experience, how do we improve the overall brand intent and brand reputation. So that is where the best way to kind of get feedback is immediately when the call kind of ends or lands onto a phone, rather than sending an SMS, email later on, right? So that is where, again, a lot of businesses work with us today to immediately kind of take feedback. So multiple options are available on how you can place the feedback responses and kind of take information from your customers, right? So again, in a nutshell, four important stages of a customer journey: sales, transaction, onboarding, retention, successful. Second is when a customer is on board and you want to kind of make sure that he is his financial security is there. That's where transaction monitoring comes in. Then you've got the renewal part of it, and you don't want your customers to miss those calls, or you don't want to miss the opportunity to speak to them. And then you've got feedback. So that's where what we do from a customer experience perspective. We've also now kind of gone into more focused areas around trying to make your calling infrastructure, your overall system more efficient, cost-worthy, and that's where today you can add programmability to your calling experience through our certain call management APIs that are available for businesses, where they can kind of use a lot of dynamism around why you're calling them or while creating an identity. So there's a lot that kind of customers do by using the same phone number, and when you're trying to reach out two different customers, maybe one for discussion around a consumer loan or a personal loan, or the other one for an auto loan. So that's where our call management APIs do come in, and we should discuss that if there is something that we guys can do for you there, right? Today we kind of do our touch points are across various sectors. So anyone who makes calls, whether it's from BFSI to education to health and wellness to logistics, close to about 2,400 businesses use us for multiple use cases around sales, service, renewals, feedback, retention, etc. Right. What is Truecaller now doing? We've done a lot around customer experience. That's what we spoke about. But as I mentioned, with customer experience comes a very important part around risk and fraud, and that is where our journey is moving into. And we've kind of, with our customer experience skills, with our daily calls that happen, billions of call interactions that happen, we are moving towards risk intelligence and threat monitoring, where we want to help businesses use the mobile numbers and get a risk profile of their individual customers that can be used for multiple around cases around underwriting, fraud prevention, payments, and then using the platform and the power of our users, giving brands signals if somebody is trying to kind of use their brand name and impersonate uh, their end users as well as Truecaller users, right, and trying to fraud them. So that's where threat monitoring kind of comes in. So overall, in a nutshell, we started off, we are a user platform. We kind of serve about close to 400 million users across the globe. And from that user kind of platform, we've kind of created solutions that add value to customers in terms of improving customer experience, aligning their risk intelligence and risk profiles, and finally moving towards threat monitoring. Right, so that's a quick overview of what Truecaller business is doing. We guys are there just at the entrance with our booth. I would request all of you to come and have a quick look as to how we guys can help you improve your customer experience and align the risk and threat profile for your customers. Thank you so much and have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhimanyu and Mr. Arshad, for sharing your journey